Alright, hello everybody, it's beau-hindman back with another quick video. This time I'm going to be telling you about my top 10 favorite MMOs as of right now. That means MMOs that I am currently playing and or enjoying. Just one quick note, this is not in any particular order. There are 10 of them, but that does not mean there's a number 1 and a number 10. These are just 10 of my favorites that are going on right now, so just keep that in mind. Alright, very first we've got wurm-online. Wurm-online, it's hard to explain, but basically, if you're familiar with Notch, who makes Minecraft, he used to work on wurm-online along with Rolf. Rolf is still making the game, and it's still going along. I remember when I first tried it, I was not impressed at all, and then it took me a while. Once I got into it, we had a blast making a village, and I still love getting into the game and exploring and having a good time. It does take some patience. But it's an open world game. It has real adventure with real epic travel that can take you several hours to get anywhere. Fog, weather effects, all sorts of stuff. But you can also progress your character, but it is very slow. Free players are a little bit more, have a little less ability than somebody who pays some money, but it's a cheap game, $5–10 a month, whatever you want to pay. So I definitely recommend wurm-online. Next, I'm going to talk about Wafu. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but I've enjoyed this game since the very beginning. The art style is fantastic. If you follow Dofu, you're familiar with this game. There's actually an anime series that you can watch based on Wafu and Dofu, I believe, for free, I believe, on YouTube. Go check the website. I'll have all the links in the profile, or in the description, I should say. It has amazing lore, killer animations. It looks like hand-drawn little cartoons, fantastic. It's turn-based combat, so if you're into turn-based combat, it's a lot of fun. And they had a recent redo of the tutorial that has really made it a lot more fun to get into the game and to make a new character. All right, next I'm going to mention Pirate 101. This is kind of Pirate 101's Wizard 101 combination. I have to admit I'm a little bit biased. My wife works for the company who makes Pirate 101 and Wizard 101. But I've covered them for years. As a matter of fact, as you're watching these videos, you're probably seeing trailers that you can click on and go to the original game trailers and then onto the sites. But you're also seeing possibly one of the very first videos I shot a tour of the King's Isle Studios 4 or 5 years ago when they were first making the mounts for Wizard 101. So I've been following this game for a long time, and it's been one of my favorites. Pirate is their newer game. There's Wizard 101 and then Pirate 101. And it's a turn-based game that's great for kids if you have kids, or it's good for adults as well. And it also has this wonderful ship-based content where you can actually get on your ship, travel out in the world. You can not only pull up to monsters and NPCs and fight them with your ship, but you can actually see your little character on the ship. You can also stop the ship and walk around it. So fantastic ship-based combat. Now you're really only going to find that kind of real-time ship-based interaction in games like Puzzle Pirates. And also it's turn-based combat. If you're more of a fan of kind of tabletop games, you might enjoy Pirate 101 better than Wizard 101's card-based content. But Pirate is still a fantastic game, great for all ages, and lots of fun for adults as well. All right, next up is my current favorite I've just been enjoying getting back into is Firefall. Now Firefall has had quite a long history, of development. There's been betas and releases, and the community has kind of come and gone and stuff like that. But the game has held in there. The developers have continued to create a fantastic shooter-based game with amazing graphics, some of the best graphics out there. I love the stylized look of the game. Non-stop action if you want it. There's linear adventure, quests if you want to do quests. They've added a bunch of new kind of PvE-based stuff. There's exploration. You can just travel all over and explore different areas. Because it's not necessarily level-based, it is, but you can kind of go to the level-based areas and there's not really that brick wall. You can jump in and discover new areas. I did it the other night. I found a really scary lava area that was fantastic. Took some screenshots. And the game is very vertical. A lot of MMOs don't really celebrate vertical going up, but this one definitely, because you have jetpack-based content, you're able to climb and travel upward. And so that gives the game an enormous feel, even though the area might not be much larger than a typical MMO. It definitely has a good idea when it takes advantage of the vertical aspect of the game. So fantastic. Next, we're going to talk Planetside II, another shooter-based MMO Free to play from Sony-Online-Entertainment, one of my favorite developers that has been for a long time, for many, many years. If you follow me, you know what I'm talking about. Planetside II is an open world PvP game where Firefall is more based, or at least there's plenty of PvE type content. Planetside is all open world PvP. It's you versus other real players, no NPCs. Amazing graphics, especially at night. I believe it's a custom-made engine from Sony. The nighttime fighting is so fun. Tracer bullets and really, really crazy. It's a very free game, like a lot of Sony games, where you can play for almost nothing if you want to. You put in a few bucks and you're going to have some non-game impacting advantages, you know, like extra experience, stuff like that. And it has some of the most fantastic sound design. You really don't notice it until you play it at night with the lights off, and you notice these different kind of weapons firing off around. You realize how wonderful the sound design is. It often doesn't get the credit it deserves, but Planetside 2 is a blast if you're into just jumping in, having some action and some player versus player content, and just jumping out. Next, I want to mention Trove. Trove is Trion Entertainment. If you're used to, if you've ever played any of the other Trion's games, Rift, Defiance, any of those other games, you might be familiar with the company. But Trove is basically their answer to kind of an open world, voxel-based sandbox. It's been in testing for a long time. I tested it in during the alpha or beta, one of the earlier testing segments. And it was cool. It was like a sandbox, optional sandbox type thing. But I wasn't blown away necessarily. But now that it's kind of it's taken steps closer to release and it's really out there, and there's so many players, there's just all these little wonderful details that you can find in the game. You can go and you can freeform build and explore and fight. And you can switch classes. You can do all this cool kind of stuff. And it is very free with some cash shop options. But on top of that, there has all these community options. Like you can build with other players, you can meet up with them, you can form groups and like communities and stuff. And it really has exploded into a fully fledged MMO. So fantastic title from Trion, and I don't think it gets enough credit. It should get a lot more. All right, another Trion game. We're talking about Defiance, one of my favorite MMO shooters. Has been for quite a while. I'm a fan of the shooters, probably because you can jump in and they're not level based as much. You can jump in and jump out and just have a blast. I mean, what else is more primitively satisfying than a shooter? Let's be honest. Of course, with Defiance, you have the cool sci-fi, as in the cable channel. You have the show that you can follow along with the characters. Those characters will appear in game. It's not as interactive as you would expect or want, but that's to be expected with an entire game that has to be produced ahead of time, or a show, I should say, and a game that both have to be produced kind of on different schedules. So, but a fantastically detailed world, really good looking. It has a linear quest-based content, but if you can do some PvP, but I'm not really into the PvP aspect of it. But the linear content, there's so much of it around the map. It can be a little bit confusing at first, like where the quests are and all that. Once you get used to it, once you meet up with some people, it really, really opens up. The weapons, there's a lot of variety in weapons. They're very, very fun. I love the sounds of the different weapons. If you want to try just a grenade launcher, you can do that, and you'll become more and more skilled in each particular weapon. And then you can switch to another one and become skilled in that one and just kind of keep going. It offers you many different loadouts, so you can kind of save a favorite loadout for your character. Load one depending on the situation. For example, last night I loaded my sniper loadout so I could pick people off from afar. A lot of fun. But the open world events are probably the greatest part of the game. If you're familiar with Rift and the actual rifts and how they come down and everything is chaos and all that great stuff, Defiance is like that, but more with aliens. I was just wandering around last night, came across a ring of people that were being held hostage, and I had to destroy the enemies and set them all free. There's 10 or 15 of them. So fantastic open world kind of content. Next, one of my classics, one of the ones I've been enjoying forever, the browser-based Die Tonight. You've heard me rave about this game before. It's hard to explain, but essentially think of it this way. You check into the game a couple times a day. You have a certain amount of points that you can spend on actions. And your job is to go out into the desert, the world, find stuff to bring back to your community so that you can survive zombie attacks that happen, I think, at 3 or 4 o'clock every single real-life day. At that time in the game, the website literally shuts down. You can't gain access to it, and the zombies attack. You wait, I think it's 30 minutes or 10 minutes, you come back, the zombie attack has happened, and you find out, did you survive or did you die tonight? Fantastic game. It's hard to explain how a game so simple can really get into your brain, but it really, really does. If you don't watch it, you'll dream about this game because your brain is filling in all the graphics. All I can say is go try it. Just try one of the free towns at first, and you won't be unsatisfied. Trust me on that. Another browser-based game, we're talking about Therian Saga. This is a strange game. The dev community the dev team, I should say, is not very communicative at all. I don't hear much from them ever. I don't know if it's because they're not from here. Maybe they just they don't speak to the English community much. I don't really know. But what it is basically is kind of a similar time-based game based kind of on energy, not like a Facebook title, but what you do is you log in, you tell your character, let's say, go over here, gather this many things and come back and then go to sleep to gain energy back. And so it's kind of got that set it and forget it type of gameplay. It might sound boring, but you level one or two characters at the same time, and you find yourself really getting more and more into the game. Do yourself a favor if you join the game. Talk to the community. Maybe some of them can give you some extra weapons or something to get you started, because it can be frustrating just getting started. But once you do, you really do find out that the game has a lot of depth to it. The in-game map is one of the most beautiful things I've seen. I love that hand-drawn kind of thing. But it is a game that you're going to play probably for anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour a day, so it doesn't take a lot of involvement, but you still really enjoy yourself. So definitely check out the Therian Saga. Last up, this is the one you're all going to make fun of me for in the comments, Habbo Hotel. Habbo Hotel is fantastic. Well, the reason I like it is because there's something about the graphics. This is just something that's hard to explain. I don't know if it reminds me of Lego or 8-bit Nintendo stuff, you know, I'm not really sure, but there's so many tiny little details. As a matter of fact, my blog over at beau-hindman.com, if you go over there and look on the blogs there, you'll see my recent post on Habbo. Something about it is so nostalgic for me, and there's these little tiny chairs, and you can build stuff and customize your character and chat and socialize. Now, Habbo has had some controversy in the past with adults trying to take advantage of some of the younger members. They have learned from their mistakes. Everything seems cool now. They're very into. In fact, I've reported players twice and literally saw the players disappear in mid-sentence as they were trolling around. So I take it that's probably the moderators coming and taking care of business. It's very easy to report somebody to take care of stuff like that, but it really doesn't happen that much. Of course, there are private rooms and people say and do all sorts of things, but if you're into building, if you're into the kind of the idea of living inside Tiny Tower, that game, you know, that's what it reminds me of. It's really a fantastic game. It's cheap to build. It's much cheaper than it's used to be with some of the new programs. But even with that, you can customize your room and get a lot of free content that makes it really worthwhile. And it sounds a little strange for you know, a kid's game, but trust me, Habbo Hotel has a lot of depth to it. And if you're a builder or explorer, it's really going to be one of your favorites. All right, so that's 10 of my recent favorite MMORPGs. If you have some that you'd like to suggest, go in the comment section. I play all sorts of MMORPGs. I always have for 15 years. I've tried everything. Some of these I repeat on my list every year, and some of them are newer. But generally, I find that I'm way into games that you can jump into, have some fun, and jump out, because I do play so many of them, and I enjoy writing about them, doing videos about them, that I need a game that's going to let me jump in and out. And this list hopefully will provide you with that type of fun. If you have any suggestions, of course, you can find me on Twitter at beau_hindman. You can also email me at beau-hindman@outlook.com. Twitter is probably the best, and you can find my blog at beau-hindman.com. So thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.